Parenting, my kids had a lot of fun showing how the cervix dilates for a baby to be born, which sounds like it's one of the more terrifying lessons to teach, and when you stop and like realize what's happening, it can be. But I think that we had a fun time and we did a good job at showing how that works. So I saw this technique on a Facebook video that was going around from a childbirth educator, and I thought that that would be a really great way to share with my students too. So what you need is a balloon per student. Watch out for latex allergies if that's a concern, and a ping pong ball per student. Now, in my small town, I had a hard time finding ping pong balls, but guess who has them in your school? PE, so talk to them, and I had these delivered to my classroom within a couple minutes of writing an email, so thanks, Chris and Jenny. Anyway, you have to get the ping pong ball in the balloon. Don't spend your prep time doing this because it's a lot of fun to watch the kids try to do it. So anyway, good luck. Get your ping pong ball in there. Kids with longer nails are going to struggle with this a little bit more, and of course, it's going to be embarrassing for me to try to struggle on camera. Okay, so there you go. The idea here, and then you want to blow it up. You don't want to get the actual size of a uterus. That is too large for this poor balloon to try to handle. But if you get the balloon up a little bit. Okay, so the ping pong ball, when rested at the bottom, will hold your balloon closed. So what we've done is my students have already talked about stage 1 of labor. So you're talking about how like you start to have contractions and that kind of thing. What's the difference between Braxton Hicks and normal contractions? So the contractions start to get more regular, stronger, and closer together. We also talk about cervical dilation a little bit ahead of time. The students do this worksheet I got from Teachers Pay Teachers by the Paisley Pineapple. It was like $1.50. Otherwise, you could definitely make one yourself by just doing the centimeter marks of the different circles. I'm not a big fan of this frilly script. I find that I run into this a lot when we talk about family consumer sciences stuff. A lot of the people making the curriculum are making it really like frilly and feminine. So if I had boys in my class, I wouldn't show this. I happen to have all girls this term. It was $1.50. I went for it. But what they do is they color in this worksheet and talk about what the different sizes are in centimeters, because as American kids, they're not so great at that. So it goes all the way from about 4 centimeters to about 10 centimeters. So they do that coloring page. They really enjoy that. And then I don't show the birthing video because I think that the kids get so wrapped up in like the shock and awe of a baby being born that they don't really understand what's happening. So I show the animation from Baby Center, and it's maybe only 5 minutes long, but we pause at each step and talk about what's happening. So I pause at the step where it says strong uterine contractions start to help the cervix soften. So we give the example of the cervix softening. Your cervix usually feels like the tip of your nose, but then when it softens, it feels more like your lips. Anyway, so we use that example, and then we talk about how the strong uterine contractions, it's going to make your cervix thinner, but it's also going to make it wider. So that's where these comes in. So the kids have the ping pong ball with inside the balloon, and I just say, try to get the ping pong ball out, and they're just like squishing all over on the balloon. Nothing's gonna happen, and they get really frustrated, and they might pop their balloon at this point because it doesn't work. So what you do is you say, where did we learn that the muscles are, and what's happening with the contractions that different from just cramps or something like that. So we say you need strong uterine contractions at the top, and as you can see, the cervix gets really thin, but it also widens. I'm not going to point that at my computer because it takes a little while to happen, but as long as you just continue with the strong contractions, of course I'm going to like, anyway, I'm confident that it works. The first, then there you go. So then your baby's born, if that makes sense. So it's a lot of fun. I'll put in a clip of what my students did when they were trying it. But you have your ping pong ball that came out, and it works because you have the strong contractions that are regular, and that's the difference between regular contractions and ones that are just kind of false labor. So it's a fun activity to talk about how the cervix dilates and to talk about, I don't know, it gives it a little bit of comedic relief to a lesson that can sometimes be pretty terrifying. From here, they will learn about stage 2 of labor. I'll show the rest of the animation. I do provide students with links to watch live births if that's what they choose to do. I like babycenter.com for those. They're just about 5 minutes long. They do show nudity. I choose not to show those in class, not because I don't think that they have educational value, but because the kids just are so like alarmed that they don't really understand what's happening. So I show the animation in class, and then I show the kids how to find baby center. And then most of the kids do come back and report back. Like they watch the one with the epidural, or you can watch one with twins, or you can watch one that's natural. You can watch ones that's induced. So you might want to assign it for the kids to watch in their own time. But anyway, so we'll talk about childbirth a little bit more tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I wanted to share one more quick tip. When you use these ping pong balls, chances are, just because it's really hard to get them into the balloon and they're gonna be shooting all over the classroom, they're probably gonna get dented. So don't return them back to the PE department looking like this. All you have to do is simmer some water. If you drop a ping pong ball in simmering water and like submerge it a little bit, it's gonna re-inflate. So do that before you return them, because you should be a good neighbor.